Welcome back to Instinct Radio, man. You're tuned in to the Dainhen Butler show. The phone lines are going crazy, and they're about to go crazy because we just got Twanesia Arnold in the building. She is, I'm gonna tell you what she did when I was meeting. She's a radio personality. She's gone to school for broadcasting at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and she also has completed. You're an adult entertainer for 11 years. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's okay. Okay. So it's about to get into some truths around here. Welcome to the show. First of all.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself?
We're all right.
With an S.
Great.
So how do you feel about marriage? How do you feel about the topic that we done done?
Well, in my opinion, it ain't for everybody.
Okay.
And that's for start. It's just not for everyone. Everyone isn't willing to settle and take the proper steps to actually, compromise. So my opinion, is it ever going to happen to me? If it do, I'm good with it. If it doesn't, I'm cool with it as well. What's the old saying? Damn if you do, damn if you don't. So I just think it's, like I said, it's not enough compromising going on. It's a lot of asking and demanding and not enough of compromise on both parties' end.
I think we can end the radio station.
Yeah.
You just said it.
Well, I flinch every time she used the word compromise. Okay. In marriage counseling, that's the last thing that I teach. I don't teach compromise because at the end of the day, if I compromise, I'm laying up in bed thinking when I'm going to get what I compromise back. I teach that we should reason long enough to both of us end up with a fair part of the stick. I don't. Compromise is I'm gonna get got.
I'm suffering.
I'm not gonna get got.
Yeah.
I'm just being real. I'm gonna get you back. You know, if I compromise before I leave here, I'm getting back whatever I compromise. I don't care if it's wife, baby, daddy, dog. I gotta have it. So I teach reasoning. And the thing about it is, one person said, you have to forbear, you have to long suffer, you have to be willing to do the work in order to come out with the results. And it can't happen because everybody's always changing. You know, when we come into a marriage, we come into a marriage at a foundation. I believe every marriage should have a foundation. You should be a foundational person. You should be a foundational person. But we're coming to build some on that foundation, and that which we build is what we reason with as we go. But the foundation has to be able to support that which both of us agree to. I talk about the I do. The I do, everybody say, well, what is the I do about? I do. It's not about the vows that they make with I do. The I do is the contents of the individual that you plan on marrying. If I say I do to you, I'm saying I do to the whole contents of your life. And I have to take that seriously. If I say, yeah, man, I do. Even in business, if I say I do, I got to consider everything that you got going on, whether or not this can be successful. So you got to know what the I do mean. The I do is not just, oh, the preacher said some good stuff and I said I do. No, when I say I do, I'm saying to your cousin, your mama, your sick dog, your baby daddies. Right. I'm saying I do. So you got to know that I do, that you're willing to put up what it takes to honor that I do.
So what is the difference between reasoning and compromising?
I sure want to know that.
What's the difference between reasoning and compromising?
Let's do that. That's a good question. Let's do this. We're going to go to a caller. We're going to go to a caller, and then we're going to come back to that question. Hold that question.
The red.
What line am I hitting?
The red.
The blue.
Oh.
You're tuned into the Dainhen Butler show.
Hey, how you doing, Dainhen?
I'm all right.
All right, my name is Rashonda, and I'm calling in to address the young man that spoke earlier at the beginning of the show that said...
Which one? Is it the one with the tight shirt on? Oh, you talking about?
Oh, the one with the bow tie.
Yeah.
He said when he was born in the 80s.
All right, man.
Don't want marriage?
Yeah, he's listening.
Okay. I was born in the 80s, and that has been my goal since I started dating. Since growing up, my mom has always told me to find a partner, sit with him, go through those ups and downs, and try to make a family, try to get a strong marriage and build stuff together. So for you to say that all of the people that you are around, or the women that you are around, doesn't want marriage, it's just not true. It's just the women that you put yourself around that's in your circle. Because That's my goal, to be married and to have a family and everything else.
Reason.
I agree. Thank you.
Well, feedback.
I said majority, not all.
So you're trying to clear yourself.
I'm telling you what it is. That's what I said.
Okay. That's what's up.
Second,
You can't say all people. That's not true. That's just the young women you're around. Maybe they don't have it in their mind to be married or want to marry, or just want a boyfriend for the rest of their life.
once
That's not my
again,
goal.
I said majority. I didn't say you because I don't hang with you, so obviously I'm not talking about you.
You're right. It's a majority.
You got it.
Let's say your crowd. I said better be saying my crowd.
The crowd. You're right to one degree. We'll appreciate you calling in, and please continue to call in.
Yes.
Hit me up on Instagram.
You know, I like
Take
to
the next
compromise
one
in
so we
the
can
next
get
What's the
this.
next line?
You know what I'm saying?
The real one.
You do come in married and have to compromise.
Welcome to the Dainhen Butler Show.
I'm looking at the two definitions.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well-
coming in response to what I was listening to.
Okay, do me a favor. Can you turn your radio down so we can hear you clearly, and talk into the phone?
Okay, yeah, we were talking about marriage. And I just wanted to bring the idea to the forefront that love should come before marriage. We're all talking about marriage, but you have to love each other before you consider the ideals of marriage. You have to love yourself before
Right.
you enter into a covenant of marriage with someone else. And I just feel like we're putting the cart before the horse before we talk about self-love instead of this colonial idea of marriage, instead of our values of life, of love, liberty, if you will, the pursuit of happiness. And once you manifest those ideas of love, and then you have the basis to start talking about marriage and what's going to affect your marriage, which is financial. That's the first thing you should talk about. How are we going to deal with this long-term marriage financially? We're going to have children. With regard to the hip-bearing speaker on your panel,
It's real.
I would
It was
just
real.
tell him, that's not a prerequisite to
Somebody told me you can call
We
him
didn't
straight
like
up.
that
I'm gonna respond to that.
That sound familiar.
I think I might know you. Let me respond to that. When I said childbearing hips, I meant in a sense that a man is looking to further his seed. A man is from the time he is through puberty, from the time to the time he dies, is sexually virile. He can produce sperm the whole time. So a man is built to procreate. So even if you don't have that in the forefront of your mind, you still want to procreate. You still want to say, okay, I want to still be here. Your child or your children or your descendants or your immortality. So a man is looking for immortality. A man is planning for his generations. You're supposed to be planning for your generations to the third, fourth generations, not just here and now. So a man is looking for someone to further his lineage. That's why I said childbearing hips, because a man is visual. A man says, okay, I see she has childbearing hips. I see she can further my line. I see she can further my seed.
So why are there so many men just planting their seeds in
Any kind of hill.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah.
Again, he said it's a visual.
It's
You
and a
hear
man-
that part?
So also,
It's
man-
visual.
But
So I'ma see her,
if
she
you're gonna
look
put
good,
your
I get
seed
her.
in me, if you're gonna put your seed in me, I think we need to start teaching the youth that if they're good enough to plant your seed in for the future, let that be someone you're willing
You are
to
right.
have a
You
future
are
with.
exactly right. When I say further your seed, I mean instinct. That is a man's instinct is to further his seed. Now, that's nature. What you're talking about is nurture. You have to teach a person. A man doesn't automatically become a man. He is a child at first, then he becomes an adult. But an adult and a man are two different things. You feel what I'm saying? You're an adult because you've grown and because technically speaking and physically speaking, you're an adult. But a man is a mindset. A man is something you become. A man is something you have to be learned. You have to learn. You have to be taught that by experience. You feel what I'm saying?
So how are we going to be able to change this out? Obviously, some people think that marriage is not realistic. So what are we going to be teaching? Like, what are you going to teach your son? I'm teaching my son that marriage is realistic. I'm not going to teach my son that, no, you need to just go out there and just date someone or just find someone to have a baby with. No, I'm teaching my son that, no, you need to find someone you see a future with, that you can grow with, that you can build with, and that the empire that me and your father are going to give to you, you can go and keep that going on down the generations.
I'm teaching my son to be an individual. I'm teaching my son to say, if marriage works for him, then go right ahead and do that. But if marriage don't work for him, if that's not something he wants to do, then don't get married. If you're looking to further
But why would a man want to get married if he know he could sleep with?
First, you got to go with.
But that's a struggle. That's what's going on in our community now, because we don't teach them to be men no more. We teach them to be individuals, to have choices, not doing what's right, which is right. To be
Yeah, so
married.
Tuesday you want her, and Thursday you want her.
You can have a structure without being married. You don't have to be married. Now, look at say other religions or other cultures or whatever. Marriage is sometimes a westernized cultural thing. You feel what I'm saying? You don't have to be married to have structure in your life.
I had somebody just send in a text. Listen, because this is how I look at certain things. I look at, I love black people. I want us to be here for an extensive amount of time. Right now, our numbers are diminishing because of homosexuality, because of black-on-black crime, because the police will shoot you down in the street for no reason at all. What takes place is that in reference to our percentage in population, we used to be the minority in these United States. We're no longer the minority. The Hispanics have outnumbered us, and we're less than 11% of these United States population. Although we'll attach ourselves to homosexuality and the prison population, so we losing. There's not enough of our men for enough of our women. It's just fact. Let me finish. In my mind, you know what? In the perfect world right now, what's taking place is, if we're all on one agenda, and that is to have our race to continue to exist, then guess what needs to take place? What? You need to make 4 babies with 4 different women.
That's already been happening for the last 20 years. That's already been happening for the last 20 years.
I understand what you're saying.
In a structured environment.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm not saying marriage is a bad thing. When I tell you I'm teaching my son to be an individual, like Twanesia said, marriage might not be in the cards for her, but that doesn't mean she's not stable. That don't mean she's not teaching her kids to be responsible adults. I'm teaching my son to be a responsible adult, a man who takes care of his responsibilities, regardless if that's marriage, regardless if it's not. So you going off the premise that marriage is the only way you can be a responsible adult, or the only way you can actually be an asset to your community. The only way you can further your seed, the only way you can actually make an empire or whatever. That's not the case.
The funny part about that, most married people who don't have kids, guess what? They don't even want any. A lot of them, very successful 6-figure people don't even want. They don't even
Look
want
at the
kids.
society.
They don't even want the
them
kids
in.
at all. And then guess what the husband doing? He's hitting the homie round the corner. He play basketball with and work out with 5 days a week. And that's how it happens. That's why he ain't want no kids.
So anyway, is not the only way to be responsible. No,
he love you because y'all got 6 figures together, but he don't even really want you, baby. Like,
see, the topic here is marriage realistic expectation. What I'm saying is, the man made a good point. See, sometimes we jump in these relationships based on visual.
Yeah.
Oh, she fine, and most women and most men keep women as trophies.
Clearly,
that's the reason why they mind so far in different places, dealing with different chicks. Because I know I got a fine chick to walk into the space with. Now, the point I'm making is this, bro. Because I've learned when I watch men raise kids, we protect our daughters. We don't want them to have sex till they get 40 years. We want you married, have a good husband. But when our sons, it comes, then we want to teach them to be individual. Well, marriage should be for you or not, or you go out there and you can be the hoe.
Yep.
See, this is a problem. We won't teach the right thing, and because we got into this world where everybody just so free will, just do whatever you want, whatever makes you, and that makes you respond. That doesn't make you respond. You're designed to teach your child right. Even if you go down to the animal kingdom, man, they teach their kids right.
But you said
how to be.
You say the animal kingdom?
You said
the world.
There's no book on raise kids, but what you have to do is raise child. See, one thing, you know right from wrong. I don't care what you say.
But you making it seem like if you don't get married, he's not right.
No,
exactly.
you teaching him the right thing as a man.
I'm teaching him the right thing.
Whatever choice he make after that is on him.
What I'm saying is, you don't have to. Okay, if you're in a committed relationship and you teaching your kids the right way to be, the right way to treat people, the right way to be responsible for yourself and other people, and you are not married, does that mean you are wrong?
I don't mean you wrong.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to be married.
So you agree with this? You're saying it is a realistic expectation.
It is. No, I don't want my child to be a gigolo. I want my child to be a responsible adult. I want my child to be responsible for his actions.
Is marriage realistic?
Marriage
And
is
this is what you-
realistic.
you gonna teach us-
Marriage is realistic if that's what you choose to be. If that's what you choose to
So
do.
it's still choice and
It's still about choice.
Everything fall back to
Isn't-
choices.
Isn't your organization called Freedom is the Choice?
But
Definitely
what about
choice.
back in the day
Freedom
when
is
you
the
didn't have
ultimate
no,
choice to
it
do
wasn't
right.
no
You feel what I'm
choice.
saying?
Yeah.
It's your
And
girl.
being right does
You
not
getting married.
being right does
Period.
not dictate you have to be married. Does being right dictate you have to be married?
You don't have to
No,
But
but,
the
she
choice
made a
and the
valid
reasoning-
point. Back in the day, if you got a girl pregnant, y'all getting married.
you didn't have
If
a-
you
you
in
didn't
a
have a
relationship,
choice.
you
We
love
gonna
her,
make
y'all
this work
getting married.
anyway.
If you want to
When you
shack
say back in
up,
the
y'all
day,
getting
when you
married.
say back in the day, you mean when black people couldn't look white people directly in the eye, or you mean when we couldn't drink out the same water? Because at that particular time, no, I'm being very serious. Cause you're talking about a time where we were just happy to be able to go to the 5-cent movie theater together, or ride in the car. And if you had
Well,
a Cadillac,
my
you was the man.
grandparents were
So what I'm
business
saying is
owners.
that the expectations and the realistic of the realism of the situation is just that we were just being exposed to what that perception of freedom was or is to one degree. or another.
Well, not as far as marriage, because even in communities, that's what the whole jump in the broom is. They couldn't get married and have a fancy marriage, but they thought, let's have a family. So we're going to jump the broom as a representation
Can
that
you
we
have a
are
family without
together.
being married?
But
Are you married?
And how realistic is it?
Are you married? You're not
No, I'm
married.
divorced.
Let's do this.
I'm
You're
divorced.
But you're raising your child as a responsible adult. Are you married?
I'm not.
And you have raised kids, right? And you have raised
Well,
kids.
I missed
you
16 years of my child's life.
Okay, but you have raised your children to be responsible adults and to be pillars of the community without being married.
They're not married yet.
But you're not married. That's what I'm saying.
They're not married yet.
You're not married.
I'm not
correct?
married.
And you're not married either. But you're teaching
No.
but you are raising your children to be responsible. You are raising your children in the right way without being married. Maybe you should marry each other and then.
Well, when you married?
Go to commercial break. I seen somebody do it. You gonna go to commercial break.
I'm about to go in now. You better make me go in.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, Lord, when the clapping comes into it, you know it's real.
Go ahead.
Right.
Listen, we are going to commercial break. You're tuned in to the Dainhen Butler Show. This is Instant Radio. Please continue to call in 478-569-6474. If it's somebody on our panel that you're ready to roast, then call in again.
There's gonna be some roasting sessions.
Because it's about to go down.
You struck the nerve with that
Commercial
J-Lo
break.
wait a minute. Wait, we go to break.
Radio. Show.
Regulators. You regulate any stealing of his property, we're damn good too. But you can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean.